you saying about my acting?
Is he a double agent?
That not only do I know how to create them,
Okay.
I know how to destroy them.
Okay. Look at Marco. I never would have expected this from Marco.
Don't need your help.
Let's go, Scar.
Set things right.
Yes. What? Oh my god.
No interest in ethics.
Is this father? Oh.
These pots are as clean as they get.
Yo. Oh. Welcome back to another Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood video. Today we have episode 44. I don't have an incredible amount to talk about before this episode. I am coming straight off the last episode. I'm so curious just to see this interaction between Hohenheim, Winry, and Al, and hopefully get an update on what's going on with Ed. I really don't want to waste too much time talking in the intro here. I feel like a pretty big session could be coming on here for me. So here we go. Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, episode 44. Revving at full throttle. Okay, here we go.
It's been a long time.
Here we go, straight away.
Yeah.
So,
That's your dad.
I saw Pinocchio recently.
What's the mood? What are we feeling?
Hey, there he is.
Mr. Ho, you think you can...
Mr. Ho?
Let's catch up later.
Oh, okay.
I need more. What are you thinking, Al?
You did a hell of a job fixing up this old radio. It works better than
Oh, that's a great callback.
static now.
I remember this early on in the show.
All this bad stuff happened because we stuck our noses in.
Don't say that. You've got to look at all the good stuff that's come from it. You guys exposed to corrupt, but take a look. The whole town.
This guy's a real one.
Together to rebuild what we lost, and you guys are the ones that brought us together.
Nice.
I'm gonna help build.
Let's
Can
go.
you take care of Winry?
Well, we might as well help too.
Let's go. Zampano and Jerzo. Come on, Yoki. Let me get some Rose and Winry conversation. It'll be interesting.
I left when he was just a boy and haven't seen him since. I doubt that he thinks of me as his father or trusts me. I'm not even sure what to say to him.
Hey,
I mean,
Dad!
fair enough. Oh!
I'd like to work too. Here, let me carry those.
Let's go. See, maybe we don't have to say anything. You know? Let the actions speak.
Here you go.
Oh, he's so proud of Al. I'm gonna cry. Wow. That caught me off guard.
It feels like an eternity since I've had a bath. You're the one who literally helped Ed get back on his feet again. So you indirectly helped me get back on my feet too. I owe you just as much as I owe Ed and Al.
Oh, that's nice.
But then Ed got furious with me. He told me to stand on my own 2 feet. He said that? He can be a jerk. I don't know why it's so difficult for him to be nice. But he was being nice.
In his own way.
That's just how much he cares. But you already know that, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
He helped open our eyes. Mine and the whole town's.
40 episodes later.
Stand on our own.
That's so cool.
We don't need any. It's all thanks to Ed and Al.
That's your boys, Winry. Yeah, where's Ed? Is it time?
Egypt wasn't such a
Oh, Beto again.
those military guys.
He's in Central? What if he actually finds Greed, like Ling? This man is just snooping around. What if he find... this is where I thought he might be. Oh my god.
The state has no interest in ethics.
It's Gardner.
The third tenet is to prevent someone from creating their own army.
Okay, so this is their conversation, Olivia and Gardner.
But these aren't.
He's hiding in there.
Are they?
No.
Correct. They're like humanoid receptacles.
Receptacles.
Powerful dummies that we can bond souls to.
Okay, yep, bond souls too. Wow.
They're the world's most perfect soldier.
This could be the Legion of Immortal Soldiers.
Plan on procuring these souls.
From a mistress.
Rival lands, of course. Citizens from the countries we ravaged during the course of war.
Yep.
The battlefield serves as a hunting ground for the collection of souls.
Oh.
This place is evil.
It was too much for him, wasn't it?
Mr. Greed would never be in an awful place like this.
Unless. Oh, it's him. It's him. It's Greed.
Tunnel.
Uh-huh. And I've got a hunch that it runs underneath.
Well, Hohenheim already knows about it.
Well, no, I'm positive it does.
Hold on, Al. Let's find some.
Yeah. Let's get to talking.
So, it's a countrywide transmutation circle, and you plan on destroying it.
We encountered a man who was identical to you in Central. I don't know how you're connected to him, but I'm guessing you at least know who he is, right?
It's so interesting.
Are you sure you want to know, Al?
Oh, they don't know how much each other knows though.
Your mind, I might be on their side.
Stop it.
You've given away your entire plan. Aren't you the least bit worried I might leak it to them?
Hohenheim. Why would he even say that? Is he pushing them away, perhaps?
I'm glad that you feel like you can still
Okay.
trust me. Thanks, Alphonse.
Sure.
God, that was stressful.
Left them. This boy still sees
Yeah.
his father and actually
So it's the similar persona that Hohenheim put on when he met Al at the graveyard and then was at Panaco's as well. It's the same persona.
trusts me.
That's gotta hit pretty hard for Hohenheim.
I suppose I owe
Yes.
my sons the same trust they've given me.
Yes!
This
That's a
won't
sick
be
shot.
easy to explain. It would be for the best for Edward to hear it as well.
Oh, where is Ed?
I hate to say it.
Here we go, it's time.
Father has gone missing.
3 episodes later. Where are we? Who?
Next in line, please.
Yep, it's the pocket watch.
I'd like to make a withdrawal.
Yep, here we go.
from the account of state alchemist Edward Elric, his research account. This is the Bank of Amestris, Northern Branch. We've just had a very large withdrawal taken from state alchemist
Okay, it's a-
Edward Elric's
it's a bit
personal
sus.
research account. That should cover your medical bill.
Huh.
Darius.
I'm very intrigued about the situation.
Are you the only patient back here? Yeah. Why are you asking? What's wrong? Tell me.
Okay. Ed?
Have you seen anyone unusual frequenting the clinic lately?
Oh man.
Described as
Right now! Show me your hands!
a
They're
red
both
coat,
strapped.
blonde hair worn in a braid, and short.
He snapped.
Get out. Harris! Harris, what happened to you? Come on!
He got socked.
Harris!
Let's go, Ed.
What's going on? Hey, answer me!
My boy Ed is doing work. So they've already fixed him up, I think? And they were paying off the bill. Dude, he went through the wall to do that.
You haven't even fully recovered yet.
Don't treat me like I'm an invalid. My injuries are completely healed, and I'm revving at full throttle.
Revving at full throttle. Here we go. Look at my boy Ed. Hair down.
Thing you've done.
That's all they're looking for? Someone with a red coat and a braid? Guess I'll have to make do with this look for a while.
Move it, kid.
Ed does not care.
Dangerous.
Stay back or he's dead. This kid's brains out.
Oh shit. Okay. Nice.
I'll wire some wheels for us.
Hey, Gorilla, step on it!
Don't go.
Gorilla.
Drive faster!
Little car chase scene. Okay.
Hey, turn there! I've got an idea!
All right, here we go.
Shut up and turn!
Just shut up.
Just park the car as soon as we turn!
Here we go. What are we doing?
What?
He transmute the car.
Where did they go? They must
Look
have
at
moved
it.
on that street up there. Move it.
That looks so cool.
Whew, and you doubted me.
Yeah, well, can you change it back into a normal car now?
And why is that? I think this car is cool as hell!
That's what I'm saying. Look at it.
Back.
You guys got a problem with my sense of style?
You don't have any.
All right, Ed's back in action.
Means we're drifters again.
Yeah.
The man's peeing.
And Al, I hope he was able to safely find Winry.
Hey, Fullmetal. Quit
I can't stop noticing, you know, his golden eyes now, like more so than ever.
plan of action.
The first thing I need to do is meet up with Al.
How are you gonna find out where he is, though?
If I were Al, where would I go?
There's no way he thinks of Lior.
Think.
Maybe because they're connected, he can figure it out, you know?
Still awake?
Yeah, just a lot. You were a slave and now you're a philosopher still?
Yeah, that would be a lot.
I know how impossibly far-fetched that it's.
I mean, you can prove it, though.
It'd be crazy to believe it.
Well, I guess I'm crazy then because
Yes,
I
sir.
don't believe you.
You don't know what Alphonse is saying, man.
That was fast.
To be honest, it kind of scares me. My situation's kind of far-fetched too.
Mm-hmm.
What's it like not being able to die?
I'm not gonna lie and say it doesn't come in handy.
Mm.
But it's not worth watching everyone I love die before.
And there it is.
Like Mom.
Hmm.
You don't have a normal human body, right? So does that mean Ed and I?
Aren't exactly normal.
I did think about this briefly. I never spoke about it.
You don't have to worry, Hal. But not even that can change the fact
Okay.
that I am a human being. Although I look alike beneath Central.
Yep.
His body is like
Different
a
story.
pattern after mine.
Hmm.
And if we can destroy that leather bag,
Okay.
we can defeat what's inside.
That makes
Hmm.
sense. Oh, I almost forgot. Look at this. They're gonna do the same thing to
They
Amestus
did in
with the
Xerxes, yep.
Egyptians, aren't they? We've got to hurry and stop them. It's almost complete.
Oh, I'm impressed. You've really done your homework.
I feel like Hohenheim should know this.
Reverse transmutation.
Reverse transmutation.
Destroying the tunnel seems like the best way to thwart them.
It's not a good idea. They've got an immensely powerful homunculus named Pride watching over the tunnel.
True.
But still,
For all we know, they might have already completed the circle.
It seems like they
why
have.
are you so relaxed?
Because it's not yet time.
Okay.
How do you know?
Hmm.
Look up, son. You're too busy looking down when you need to look up.
Huh?
If you want answers, that's where you'll find
Okay, this is gonna go back to the mural.
The sky? You mean the sun god Leto?
The man in Central is waiting
Yeah.
for the day of reckoning.
The Day of Reckoning. Father spoke about this. Hmm, interesting, interesting. I'm gonna go back to the Xerxes mural, this discussion. Here we go. It's greed, but it's not your greed. It's a different one. We haven't seen him in so long.
I do appreciate the chance to kill my boredom.
Look at him.
The ultimate shield?
He knows. He recognizes it.
What the hell? You! How dare you imitate Mr. Greed?
Excuse me, I'm no imitation. My name is Greed.
It's a different greed, though.
Vicious.
You got it. Sex, status, glory.
You demand the finer things in life.
Is he gonna spare Beto?
And how could you be?
All right. Who are you?
You knew your past self. What was that?
Has to be. You are Mr. Greed.
I asked you who you are. Now tell me.
It's me. I'm your friend, Vito. You haven't been gone from Dublin long enough to forget.
Doubleth.
You're from Dublin. Now it makes sense.
You remember me?
No.
Afraid not. You must have been buddies with the previous Greed.
He just doesn't care.
I thought
Oh, Beto, no!
I've never even met.
I'm your friend.
Demon.
I am sorry, honestly.
Dude, what is that? Is it Ling or past greed? It's them. It's the other chimeras.
What have you done, Greed?
Ling.
Are you determined to prove you're a monster?
Look at him. He's still in there.
What kind of sick creature would kill his own friend?
Yep.
He wasn't my friend.
Yeah, look, there they are. This is Doubleth.
Then why do you remember him?
Those are the last.
Oh.
They're not mine.
Then why are you in so much pain?
Talk to him, Ling.
Pull yourself together, Greed. I'm warning you.
I'm warning
I'll
you.
take my body back if you drop your guard.
Or can he do that at will?
Those memories aren't a part of me anymore.
Well, they clearly are.
No, you're wrong, Greed. It's not that easy.
Dude, look at that. Thumbnail.
You can't just erase them from your soul. They were the only part of you that you chose.
Dude.
Can you not hear their souls crying out? You abandoned them. Your real family.
Talk to him, Ling.
Trash! Fool! If you turned your back on something you wanted, you don't deserve to.
That's facts. Oh, yeah. Dude, we haven't seen Ling in so long. God, I missed that, man. That was so sick. All right, post credits. Okay, where do we go this time? Is this Bradley's house?
I think you'll
Yeah.
enjoy this one. I was just
Bradley's wife and Salim.
you are the first time I read it. It's about an adventurer who travels the world.
Huh? Who?
Who is it?
Wait, it's Greed. He remembers what Bradley did. But it's the connection. It's the connection. It's the Ling and Bradley, the Greed and Wrath connection, dude. God, this show is so good. Another great episode. The show just continues to give me what I want, even if I don't know it's what I want. So we start off in Lyon, right? Hohenheim, in essence, is just really uncertain about to handle the situation. Like I guess it was the same when he met Ed. But overall, Alphonse is really happy to see him. This is the first time Alphonse and Hohenheim have seen each other since Al has had this body, right? Such a stark contrast to the first time Ed saw Hohenheim, right? Ed is just very angry towards him, but Alphonse, just in his, his different kind of nature, he seems very just accepting of the situation. Hohenheim goes off to continue helping the residents of Lyon, whilst Alphonse has a conversation with the guy who seems to be running one of the stores there. The man has a lot of really good things to say about, like, don't feel bad that you guys came here and got involved. Like, you stopped the priest who was very corrupt, doing a lot of bad things. And now look at the town. Everyone's working together, to rebuild the town. And in essence, it's all because of you guys, which is great. And that comes back later in the episode as well, when Rose is talking to Winry, saying, I was able to move on from my whole boyfriend's situation and stand on my own 2 feet, all because of Ed and Al, all because they came to Lyon. Alphonse decides he wants to go and help the town as well, and Hohenheim's talking to the townspeople saying, look, I'm not even sure what to say to Alphonse, and this was my interpretation of the situation. Alphonse comes in and he just says, I want to help. He doesn't say anything about Hohenheim or anything, he just says, I want to help, and he just gets straight to it. And Alphonse's actions there seem to make Hohenheim very proud. There's a really cool shot of Hohenheim seemingly looking very proud of Alphonse. Then we move into Winry and Rose's conversation, very exposing bath scene of Winry. It was a lot for your boy. It's so nice for Winry to hear Rose talking about Ed and Al in such a nice light. And even when Rose says, look, Ed got really angry with me when he was being passionate about Rose, needing to stop following, this priest so blindly and stand on her own 2 feet. And Winry's kind of like, oh, I'm sorry he got angry with you. But Rose was understanding that he was showing that he cared, right, by being passionate about that. And it's the same thing to Winry. And Winry understands that, of course. And Rose says, right, you should know that more than anyone. To which Winry does blush at. Just a lot of really nice things that Rose is saying, like saying Winry indirectly helped Rose as well because she is so influential to Ed and Al, and that the whole town of Lyon is learning to stand on its own and not because of some priest coming in with all these fake miracles. And it's all thanks to Ed and Al, which is really great just in general. And it's also great for Winry as well to hear these things about, 2 of her closest friends. Now we get Bido down underneath Central. He has found, the army of bodies that Olivier and Gardner were looking at, and Gardner reveals that the plan is to have souls bound to them. And what he said was, from rival countries, citizens from the lands we ravaged during the course of war. There's 2 ways you can look at this. Obviously, the obvious interpretation of this is, just the lands around Amestris, right, that they have already ravaged and created bloodshed from. So the way he says, though, like citizens from rival countries, like, is he talking about, places like Xing? Because Amestris is just one country, right? Xing is another country. Kind of makes me think that they're going to wage war and then use the souls from the war to occupy this army of bodies they've created. Which to me doesn't make as much sense as the first theory, because you would imagine that these bodies are what they are going to want to use for the big war that's presumably coming up, right? So perhaps they can fill these bodies with the souls that they take from the Amestrian Transmutation Circle, or maybe they've got people waiting already, all these souls maybe in Philosopher's Stones. I don't know, there's still a lot to think about there. But as we always do, we'll find out more about this at some point when it becomes relevant. But Bido has seen too much. He runs away, saying Mr. Greed wouldn't be in a place like this. And who does he run into? None other than Greed himself, in Ling's body, so Bido doesn't recognize him. We cut back to Al and Hohenheim talking, and And Hohenheim, you know, we know he's very, very clever. He's really playing around all this information, you know, very carefully. So Alphonse is like, there's this whole transmutation circle situation happening all throughout the country. You know, we came here to try and find it and maybe destroy it, stop them from using it. And Al mentions, right, we met Father, right? He looks exactly like you. I don't know what your connection is to him. And Hohenheim seems to occupy, I said this during the episode, the same persona he put on with Ed and Pinocchio, right? And to me, my initial reaction of that is like he's kind of pushing them away. He doesn't want them to get caught up in all of this trouble, perhaps, or what he might be about to do with Father. But he's really happy that Alphonse still trusts him, right? After everything that has gone on, after Hohenheim left, after the mother died, Alphonse still just sees him as his father, which is great considering how much we know about Hohenheim now, right? He just wanted to have a family and grow old with them. And then they go to sit down and actually get into detail about a lot of the stuff, which comes back later in the episode. And then we finally start going back to Ed. We see Darius at the bank with Ed's state alchemist pocket watch, trying to make a withdrawal to cover Ed's medical bill, which they seemingly have already sorted out, right? Ed's been fixed up by this doctor. They're a bit sus of the fact that some, you know, representative has rocked up to take quite a large amount of money out of Ed's account, and then some soldiers go to find them. A whole conflict situation happens. Ed, you know, returns with all this food, and he just seems like, you know, like the title says, and like Ed says at the end of the fight, revving at full throttle, like he is ready to go. Really cool to see Darius and Heinkel, you know, still working with Ed. You know, Ed says he's pretty much fully healed, or perhaps as healed as he can be. You know, they make it out of the building, get a little car chase scene, which is pretty interesting. Ed manages to trick everyone by transmuting the car into something very, I guess, his style, but not something that Darius and Heinkel appreciate. Not really a whole lot to unpack from all of that, other than the fact that Ed is back in action. He has been, I guess, fixed up by this doctor, and he's ready to go. And at this point, Ed, Darius, and Heinkel have no idea where anyone else is, right? Alphonse and Winry and everyone else have no idea what's going on with Ed. So at this point, Ed's assumption is that Alphonse has met up with everyone and warned them about the Briggs situation, but he has no idea where they might have gone. So he sits down and he's like, think, what would Alphonse do? Get a really cool transition into Alphonse. And it did make me think, right, we know they're connected a little bit, you know, somehow, some way. So maybe that could help them, you know, come back into contact and meet up again. And then we get the discussion of Hohenheim and Alphonse. Hohenheim explains to Al, you know, I was a slave way back when, now I'm a philosopher's stone. Must be quite hard for Alphonse to hear. Like Hohenheim says, it is very far-fetched. Alphonse doesn't really have a problem believing him though, because like Al says, his situation is pretty far-fetched as well. He is literally a soul bound to a suit of armor after all this human transmutation shenanigans. And Al asks Hohenheim, what's it like being immortal? And Hohenheim says, look, it's been handy here and there, but it's not worth watching everyone that I love die before me. To which Alphonse says, like Mom, right? Like Trisha. And eventually, like Ed and Al as well, his sons. And I'm glad they touched on this. I did think about it a little bit, but I just imagined the show would eventually address it if it had any relevance. The fact that Hohenheim, as a philosopher's stone, an immortal human, like had children with Trisha, who is just a normal human, right? Would that mean that Ed and Al are potentially, you know, a little bit different than normal humans? But Hohenheim says, no, rest assured, you know, I'm still a person. I do have a philosopher's stone, but don't worry, it has not affected you guys at all. And then Hohenheim kind of describes Father as like a leather bag patterned after his own body. Just inferring that, you know, if we can destroy his body, we can destroy what's inside, you know, which is the dwarf and the flask homunculus, right? Alphonse shows Hohenheim, you know, pretty much what they deciphered from Scar's brother's notes, the statewide, Amestris-wide transmutation circle, and then the alchemy version as well, which Hohenheim refers to as a reverse transmutation circle. Now, I do feel like this is not going to be new information for Hohenheim. I think he's just really impressed that, right, this is where, you know, Alphonse is with all the information. This is, you know, how much this group has uncovered. I remember that shot very well before Hohenheim left the family. He's in his office, you know, and he's, you know, drawn a transmutation circle on a piece of paper. Like, and to me, that was him discovering the same thing about what Father was going to do, and that's why he left, right? And Hohenheim deters Alphonse from the idea of destroying the tunnel, saying, first of all, pride is down there, right? Very dangerous. Second of all, and the reason I'm so relaxed about this is because it's not yet time. And I did think something like this too. The fact that the circle is complete, I'm like, can he just do this any time now? Can Father just do this? But no, it's not yet time. And this is where things get really interesting. And what I'm going to do is go back to the episode of Ed with Envy and Ling inside Gluttony talking about the Xerxes mural and kind of see if I can pick anything up about that. Based on what Hohenheim says here, he says to Al, look up, right? If you want answers, that's where you're going to find them, right? And the sun is in the sky. There's the sun god Leto from the church as well. And it just made me think there was something to do with the sun or something in the Xerxes mural. So I'll go back and look at that. But Hohenheim says Father is waiting for the day of reckoning, which I believe Father mentioned, I think maybe 2 episodes ago. But I'm going to go back and look at that mural now and see what Ed says about it, because I said a few episodes ago, I feel like this information is going to be relevant at some point. And like they do in the show, they'll bring it back when it's necessary. But I'm going to go and have a look at it now and see what I can make of it.
The partial mural I saw in Xerxes, it would have looked more or less like this.
Alright, so there are 5 suns and 5 moons. The moons are in like quarter moons, right? But some of them are in different positions.
This basically translates to I will strike God to earth and become a perfect being.
I will strike God to earth and become a perfect being. That should be Father's goal. The sun god Leto.
An image of the lion swallowing the sun. Symbolizing the Philosopher's Stone.
Okay. Look at the massive full moon. So I might put up just an image of the Xerxes mural from OP1 just here. So to me, in the middle there is the 2-headed dragon thing, I think Ed called it, underneath the word God or something that's upside down, right? I believe. We see 5 suns and 5 moons, 5 quarter moons, all in slightly different positions. When we look at the scene of when the portal opens during the destruction of Xerxes, there's a really big full moon up in the corner. Ed says things about like the sun represents the soul, the moon represents the mind, and the stone represents the body.
I will strike God to earth and become a perfect being.
Okay, I think I understand now. So the image of the lion swallowing the sun, with the sun symbolizing Philosopher's Stone. A Philosopher's Stone symbolizing, lots of human souls, right? So I guess what this is all trying to say is if Father absorbs enough human souls, he will become stronger than a god, right? Okay, I think that's everything I need to know about that. It's super interesting. It's just, I'm glad I've refreshed myself on this, so I at least have all this information in my mind. I've just found that in shows like this is where I want to be. I want to be in the middle of all of this when there's just so much to think about and so many possibilities. That's where I feel like I'm enjoying myself the most. So that's why you'll see me going back, looking at these openings, going through older episodes and trying to find all these details. It's just so much fun for me. And I hope it's as enjoyable to watch, like kind of see me go through like my own journey of trying to figure out what's going on as it is for me. Right, but we'll finish off episode 44 now, and what an absolutely fantastic final situation do we get here. So we finally get to see Greed, Ling, back in action doing stuff, chasing after Beto, kind of intrigued that Beto is actually like holding his ground a little bit. Beto realizes that this is like something about Greed, like he sees the ultimate shield, his voice sounds the same, and then Greed is like, no, I am Greed, the avaricious. And you can kind of see they almost have a little connection. They're like, oh, you understand like my ideologies. Or that's only because Beto like knew who Greed was. Then you can see Greed kind of makes the connection. Oh, you're from Dublin. That's where the other Greed, was hanging out. That's how you kind of know who I am. You know about Greed. And Beto's like, you remember me? Greed kills off Beto. Like, no, you knew the other Greed. I'm not the same guy, right? His memories are gone, or so it would seem. But Ling is still in there. We get a couple of like staticky images that pop across, as Greed's like cutting down Beto. Like as Beto falls down, he's like, I'm your friend. And Greed's like, honestly, I am sorry, but I'm just doing my job. Like I'm a different guy. Like Ling is in there. Like he can see Greed's memories. We see a couple of shots that like flash through the static of the other Chimera that the Greed in Dublin was hanging out with. Like, and they were his friends. They were a really tight knit group, and there was even a moment where I thought some of them were going to survive. Like they put a lot of emphasis on them. Like Ling is in there and he is looking savage. Like Ling's values really come into light here. It's been so long since we've seen Ling as well, so it's almost refreshing in a sense. Ling's like, they were your friends, man, and you killed them. And Greed like is almost trying to convince himself like, no, I'm a different Greed. Father got rid of my memories. I don't know that guy. I don't know, you know, these other chimeras that I'm getting these images of. And Ling's like, no, how desperate are you to prove that you are a monster? You killed your friend. Like, to me, Ling is almost inferring that he can just take over the body whenever he wants. He's like, you better watch yourself. I will take my body back if you drop your guard. Okay, now that I say that out loud, he's not inferring that he can do it when he wants, but if Greed drops his guard, Ling can. That's what happened when he was talking to Bradley, right? Episodes and episodes ago. Ling popped out for a second and Greed said, oh, I gotta stay on my toes with this one. But Ling's like, you know, why are you in pain? You know, why are there still fragments of those memories in here if all you're saying is true? And this might go back to how we've seen the Shingi's people can kind of like sense the souls of the homunculi and whatnot, because Ling's talking about, as we get a sick shot of Ling is pretty much like headbutting like the form of Greed that's like inside of him. He's saying they're a part of your soul. They are the only things that you chose. Can't you hear their souls crying out? Like, and that's a very like Shingi's thing that has happened a lot, but with Ling and with Mei as well. The thing that just really hits is after Ling says, like, you chose them as your friends, right? And in this moment, you are turning your back on them, right? It's something you wanted. You are Greed. If you're turning your back on something you wanted, can you even call yourself Greed? It hits so hard, man. Greed is just screaming out as he's holding Beto's dead body. And to me, given what we get into in the post-credits scene, right, it seems Greed remembers, or at least accepts that old Greed is still a part of him. He comes flying into Bradley's house straight for him. Bradley was the one who cut down the original Greed, those chimeras down in the tunnels of Dublith. You know, and if he really does remember, that's why he's going after Bradley. There've been so many parallels already drawn between Bradley and Ling, you know, with Bradley's ideologies of what a king is to be, and the same with Ling's coming from Xing. And now in a new body with Ling of all people, Greed is now coming after Bradley, coming after Wrath, right? Seemingly to get revenge. It's just fantastic. Like I never thought like this kind of thing would happen. I just thought it was a completely new Greed. It was all going to be about Ling, but no, it's about Greed as well. It's fantastic. But we have to remember that Selim is right there as well, right? That's pride. It's possible Greed is not just up against Wrath, but up against pride here in this instance as well. I can't wait to see what happens with this interaction. And I want to draw attention to this absolutely fantastic detail. I just happened to have paused during the post-credit scene of Bradley reading the newspaper, and on the front page you can see Drachma launches attack, suspected informant inside North Army. Which is just fantastic attention to detail that this show is putting in there. And I'm going to go out of my way to draw attention to this as well when Bradley's wife is picking a book out for Selim, which is really interesting, by the way. Like, I really don't understand a lot about this woman at this point, but she's really like treating Selim like as an actual son when we know he's much more than that. And he's a lot older than, you know, what he seems. But the book she describes is like, I read this when I was a bit older than you were. It's about an adventurer that travels the world. Hohenheim, we know him as a traveler. Like that could just be an interesting reference. It could be nothing. I just thought I'd draw attention to that. But that's everything. Looking down at my recording, it's actually been an hour and 10 minutes. Easily the longest recording I've had for a Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood episode, and that's including all of me going back and looking through the past episodes and the openings, so a lot of that gets cut out, but it's just putting into perspective how long some of these sessions get for me. But like I said before, this is just where I love to be when there's so much to think about, so much to go and try and figure out and put together. It's just where I feel, you know, the most comfortable. But I'm going to leave it there for this one. Thank you all so much for watching. Please feel free to like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this and for other shows as well. And as always, please continue to leave your comments and feedback down below. You know, I always appreciate it. And we'll see you on the next episode of Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood.